Welcome to another interesting video in which we'll learn about trade agreements and later on its different types. What is a trade agreement? A trade agreement is like a deal between two or more countries that makes it easier for them to trade with each other. It's like when you and your friend agree to share your toys. The trade agreement sets out the rules for how the countries will trade with each other, like how much they'll charge for their products and what kind of products they can trade. Trade agreements can be really helpful because they can make it cheaper and easier for countries to buy and sell things from each other. This can help businesses grow and create jobs and give people more choices when they shop. Pros and cons. But trade agreements can also be tricky because they can affect different people in different ways. Some people might benefit from the new trade rules, while others might lose out. For example, if a country agrees to let in more cheap imports, it might be good for shoppers who get lower prices, but not so good for local businesses who have to compete with those imports. Overall, trade agreements are important because they can help countries work together and grow their economies. But it's important to make sure that everyone is treated fairly and that the rules work for everyone involved. After an overview of trade agreements, let's see its different types. Number 1. Bilateral trade agreements. Bilateral trade agreements are deals made between two countries to simplify trade between them. These agreements aim to reduce tariffs and other trade barriers. An example of a bilateral trade agreement is the US-Japan trade agreement. Number 2. Regional trade agreements. Regional trade agreements are made between groups of countries in a particular geographic region. These agreements are designed to promote trade between the countries in the region by reducing trade barriers. An example of a regional trade agreement is the European Union. Number 3. Multilateral trade agreements. Multilateral trade agreements involve many countries and aim to promote trade and investment globally. These agreements are negotiated through the World Trade Organization. An example of a multilateral trade agreement is the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. The General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade was a multilateral trade agreement that was signed in 1947 with the goal of promoting international trade by reducing trade barriers such as tariffs, quotas, and other restrictions on trade. The agreement was negotiated by 23 countries and came into effect on January 1, 1948. Number 4. Free trade agreements. Free trade agreements aim to reduce or eliminate tariffs and other trade barriers between countries. The goal of FTAs is to increase trade and investment between the countries involved. An example of an FTA is the North American Free Trade Agreement. Number 5. Customs Union. A customs union is an agreement between countries to eliminate tariffs and other trade barriers between them, and to have a common external tariff for goods imported from outside the union. An example of a customs union is the Southern Common Market in South America. Number 6. Common Market. A common market is similar to a customs union, but it also allows for the free movement of goods, services, people, and capital between the member countries. Let's understand with an example of a common market is the European Economic Area. The European Economic Area is a trade agreement between the European Union and 3 non-EU member countries, Iceland, Norway, and Liechtenstein. The agreement was established in 1994 to promote trade and economic integration between the EU and these countries. Number 7. Preferential trade agreements. Preferential trade agreements are agreements made between countries to give each other preferential treatment in trade. This means that the countries involved will give each other better trade terms than they would give to other countries. PTAs can help promote trade between the countries involved and can also help to support economic integration within a region. Let's see example of a PTA is the ASEAN Free Trade Area, which was established to promote trade among member countries in Southeast Asia. Thank you for watching. Enjoy learning.